Shavua Tov Mevarach. Rabbi Kovacs here in Mishnah Yomi continues in Gittin, chapter 3, Mishnah Dalet. In the previous Mishnah, we learned that a messenger coming from overseas can still give a get that the principal was elderly or a little unwell when he left there, with the assumption that the sender, the husband, is still alive. Now today we'll see some exceptions that prove that rule. Mishnah Dalet, Shlosha Devarim Amar Rabbi Elazar ben Parta. There are three things Rabbi Elazar ben Parta said, Lifnei Chachamim, before the other sages, V'kimu et Devarav. And the sages ratified his words. They said, yes, that is the halacha. The first is Al Ir Shehikifa Karkum, a city that's besieged by an invading army. Not a friendly army, an army that's there to pillage and murder. Al Asfina Mitzrefet Bayam, and a boat that is tossing and turning on the waves of the ocean. Al Yotzi Ledin, and someone going out to judgment in a capital case. Now all of these men, Shehen Behezkat Kayamin, unless we know otherwise, we assume they're still alive. If someone's in a city under siege or in this boat in a dangerous situation, or they're being judged for a felony, we assume they're still alive. And then, of course, the messenger could give the get. Aval Ir Shekavosha Karkam, but a city that's been breached and the invading army is actually inside the gates, then it's not pretty, doesn't look good. Sfina Sha'avda Bayam, a boat that's actually sunk in the water. A Yotze Lahareg, and someone who's been judged and is going out to be executed. So in this case, Notnin Alehem, we give on these men Chumre, the stringencies of Chayim, that they're still alive, the Chumre Meitim, and the stringency they might be dead. The Mishnah is about to explain. But Yisrael LaKohen. So a regular Jewish girl married a Cohen, became Mrs. Cohen, and now she could eat Truma as long as her husband's still alive. Bought Cohen Yisrael, and a Miss Cohen who got married and became a Mrs. Schwartz, Lo Tochal Betruma. Both of these women in this situation, they can't eat Truma. We're concerned the husband, the Kohen, might have died in these terrible situations, and therefore she's no longer entitled to eat Truma because she's a Yisrael. And the other case, the Miss Cohen became a Mrs. Schwartz. Now, if Mr. Schwartz passes away with no children, then she becomes Miss Cohen again and go back to her father's house and eat Truma. But in these situations, even though it's extremely dangerous and likely something terrible happened, but he might still be alive. He might have escaped the shipwreck or the siege. So she should not presume he's dead quite yet, and she cannot go back and eat Truma in her father's household. On to Mishnah Hey, Mamevi get Be'eretz Yisrael. V'chola, the messenger is bringing a get inside of Eretz Yisrael, and he took ill. Hareze Mishalcho Biyad Acher. He can give the get to someone else, someone he trusts, obviously, to continue the journey. Now remember, inside of Eretz Yisrael, he didn't have to say B'fanei Nichta, B'fanei Nechtam, because inside Eretz Yisrael, you can find witnesses, and we know the halacha of Lishma, as we explained in the first parak. Now tomorrow we'll learn the case of a messenger coming from outside of Eretz Yisrael into Eretz Yisrael who has to make these statements to validate and protect the validity of the get, what he's going to do. But let's continue here, Mishnah Hey still. V'im amar lo, but if the husband had told him, the messenger delivering the get, tol li haimenu chavetz ploni, when you're there delivering the get, make sure you get back a certain item. In that case, lo yishalchenu biyad acher, the messenger cannot make a second messenger, a backup messenger, because the husband doesn't want somebody else to take this valued or sentimental object back to him from the ex-wife's home. Yashar Koach, and I just remembered in Mishnah Dalet real quick, when they talk about a court case, a possible capital case, the Kehati brings maybe a non-Jewish court was much more likely to execute someone, even if they couldn't convict him of this felony, they'll make up some other felony to convict him of and take him out to be executed. But a Jewish court, they have innocent until proven guilty, so the halacha there might be different. Now it's really interesting, Rabbi Elazar ben Parta was actually arrested by the Romans, along with Rabbi Chanina ben Tradion, who was arrested for teaching Torah publicly. And Rabbi Elazar ben Parta comments, he says, I wish I had been arrested for teaching Torah like you were. So it seems to me he was quite aware of the bloodthirsty proclivity of the non-Jewish courts. Yashar Kochachem, Zai Gesund.